everybody, it's Romania Black, and are we ready to start episode 2 of this madness? Yeah, Puella, Magi, Madoka, Magica. So we got to meet Madoka, Madoka. I'm gonna get her name wrong. I want to say Madoka, but I know it's like Madoka. They like said it as a thing. So you're just gonna have to humor me for now. I'm probably gonna pronounce it wrong. I'm the worst at pronunciation. It's fine. But Madoka. Anyway, she was introduced. What a little lamb. What an unsuspecting, ever the trusting beam of sunshine. And we also met a handful of characters, her classmate, as well as her other classmate that I think is secretly a magical girl in disguise, as well as this other dark-haired, mysterious Sailor Saturn appearing woman that is trying to hunt down witches, maybe? We'll see, but and then we met this like Sailor V-esque golden-haired girl who loves Kyubey. Kyubey, this very unsuspecting alien-looking demon cat that wants to make Faustian contracts with all these girls to possibly do its dirty work for it. I don't see anything unsuspecting or wrong about this. The thing is, I talked about this last episode, this series is so cutesy on the way that it's drawn that you don't see the creepiness coming, and then once the creepiness sets in, you're like, wait, what is happening? What is this? Why is this happening? And by that point, it's too far gone, and you're like, oh, shit, episode 1 was creepy enough, and I don't trust Kyubey any further than I can throw it, and I can't reach through the screen and throw it at all, so there you go. But I don't know. This cat that's like, everything's fine, just do my work for me, it's all right. No, I don't trust it. And I get flack a lot because a lot of people on the channel are like, Romania, you don't trust anything at first. And I'm like, look, do I have trust issues because of the anime that I've watched? It is quite possible. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Kyubey is the most magical, wholesome thing in the world. Maybe it's going to, form these contracts and great things are going to happen. But the one girl seemed like that was not the case. And she was trying to warn Madoka about it. And the girl was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what? And then did not heed the warnings or didn't quite understand them. My question is why she can be more direct. But it seems like the blonde-haired girl is kind of watching over things. So maybe the black-haired new school transfer was afraid that she would, get found out and something worse would happen if she tried to directly say it. Maybe under her contract, maybe the contract that they form with Kyubey prevents them from directly saying that Kyubey is a demonic presence. Maybe there's a clause to it that's like, you can't say anything bad about me. And maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm still learning the names, but Madoka, she is our main girl. And I just feel for her because she's so trusting and such the summer child. And I'm like, oh girl, I see the writing on the wall. This is going to be one of those series that you're like, oh, this is going to get dark and shit, isn't it? But I signed up for this. Y'all voted for it. So what can we do? But I'm going to be gone next week on a trip. So I was like, I want to go ahead and record episode 2 and then get all your comments for episode 1 when we get to it. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this series. I wanted to go ahead and watch episode 2 as well because we ended on Kyubey saying, oh, I'm going to give you a contract, but didn't explain the terms and what that was. And I know, and I feel sorry for the moderators. I know that when I get to those episode 1 comments, there's going to be 1,000 people trying to be like, well, what the contract is. And I'm like, I'm going to watch episode 2. Y'all, you don't have to tell me those things. So just please no spoilers, hints or clues. If I get something wrong, the show will correct me and we'll figure it out along the way. But with that being said, I'm really excited to get down to business. So a special thanks to Anthony for getting me the files for this, as well as Mevelin or Cyber. Anthony came out first and was like, hey, Crunchyroll's subtitles are kind of weird. Do you want these new ones? And I was like, yes, I'll watch the files that you send me. And then Mevelin came a few days later and was like, hey, the Crunchyroll Funimation files are not the best quality. Do you want the Blu-ray ones? And I was like, I think Anthony's getting me the Blu-ray ones. And then it turns out that he is. So thank you both for offering and for helping me because y'all are getting me to watch the most high quality version of this show, which I super appreciate. So all of my love. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. We're going to dive into episode 2 of Magi, Madoka, Magica. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, one, and let's go. Well, huh. I didn't know if I should bring White Raccoon out because the most thing we really get is the idea about these witches and that they're essentially curses. We're gonna talk about this a little bit, and then the fact that this miracle that Kyubey can grant, the trade off is they'll grant you any wish, but in return you have to become a witch killer. Hmm. I don't know. Maybe I should have brought White Raccoon out for this, but let's talk about this episode. I really thought we were gonna get more, and not more as in like the episode wasn't good or anything. I did like this episode, but I thought we were gonna actually get whether or not they choose to become magical girls or not. Although it seems like the thing that's so weird is I feel like both of them would become magical girls like now. They're both like sold on the system. They're ready to drink the Kool-Aid, but the fact that they have to come up with a wish is the one thing holding them back. And it's such like here's the thing. I feel like Mami or Mami or whatever her name is, she is benefiting from this wish and reward system a lot. Like she finds the whole thing great. I feel like she's all on board with it. Her and Kyubey, they're having a great old time. Is she a third year? Or I'm going to posit a lot of theories. And I know 90% of them are probably not going to be right, but I'm just going to posit where my mind is at, and then we'll see as we go if the series proves me right or wrong. I wonder if Mami is as old as she says she is. Is she a third year? Is she older than that? How long has she been a magical girl? We don't know the answers to these questions yet, but I'm curious. Like, she seems to benefit a lot from the system. She also talks about living by herself, which can infer a couple of things. One, here's my thing. Komura, or Homura, she doesn't seem to like all this. I feel like she made a wish and regrets it, and she's just stuck now in this living hellscape trying to kill witches to keep from. I think here's the thing. They have these little Behelit looking soul gems. Behelits are in Berserk. These little Behelit looking soul gems, and they showed them getting darker, and then she's like, oh well, you just kill a witch, take its little seed, and it'll purify and absorb all the darkness out of your soul gem, and then you're all back to normal. Yeah, I feel like that maybe Kyubey, I'm going to make my theory here. I think Kyubey made a deal with a girl a long time ago, with like the OG witch. Kyubey made a deal with some girl, and then he granted her the power to do whatever, to grant her wish. And in exchange, it offered up her soul. And maybe she became the first witch, right? And so from then, Kyubey's like, oh, I gotta get rid of her. She's become a witch. She's become a force of evil. She could kill me. I know. I'll solve this problem by creating another magical girl to fight the witch. And then maybe the magical girl that was created couldn't stop the witch, and so he's like, well, I'll just create another magical girl and she'll stop the witch. And then eventually it's just gotten to the point where Kyubey just keeps creating magical girls to stop the witches, but I feel like the witches are a creation of Kyubey's own, a product of Kyubey himself, and then now he's just creating magical girls to try to fight a problem that he made. And there's a high % chance that either the magical girl is going to die or she's going to become a witch herself. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But this series is already super creepy, and I don't know if I like where this is headed. I'm like, I don't know about this. So yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like with Mami or Mami, I feel like with her, she specifically, I feel like her deal is maybe either one of two things have happened. She either has grown up maybe as an orphan, and she didn't have anything because like her apartment is so lush and nice and everything. Maybe she wished for wealth so that she could buy herself like all of this nice fancy apartment that she lives in by herself with all the amenities. Maybe that was her wish. And she's like, I live alone. So either she's been an orphan or is estranged from her family and she just wanted this wealth, and then that was the wish. Or whatever she wished for, in the process, she lost her family and they died or something bad happened to them. because Homura makes the comment saying like, you know, if you want to keep being if you want to save your friends and family, don't make a deal with this creepy demon looking thing. And then she also says, if you want to stay as you are, don't make a contract. So that to me is a sign that what Homura is suggesting is that you will become a witch if you stop hunting witches, you'll become one. And then you'll be hunted by another magical girl, and that'll be it. So there has to be a monkey's paw with this contract, right? There has to be a monkey's paw that maybe the witches are, if the magical girls decide they don't want to do it anymore. Maybe the Kyubey grants their wish and then suddenly they're like, oh, actually, I don't want to be a magical girl anymore. I'm tired of doing this. Can I get out? And Kyubey's like, not unless you become a witch, and then you're going to get hunted. So I don't know. It seems too good to be true. And the sad thing is, and the scary thing is that Mami, she like is all on board with it, but she seems really close to Kyubey. See, she seems like they're like best buds. So I don't know. Also, if you're both hunting witches, she kind of makes it seem like all the magical girls are competing to get rewards from killing witches, and she passes it off like, oh, well, Homura's not hanging out with us because she's trying to kill the witches and claim the rewards for herself. And she was trying to stop you girls from becoming magical girls too by killing Kyubey so you can become magical girls. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true. That seems like a lie. And I feel like Homura at this point, Homura knows that maybe she can't defeat Mami. And she's like, I know I can't beat you, but I also don't like you. But you know what? I've warned these girls. She's like, Homura is like Tim the Enchanter from Monty Python the Holy Grail. I warned ya, but no, it's just a cute little cat, isn't it? Yeah, just make a contract with it. They're always warning them. I feel like Homura is like, I tried to tell you, and you wouldn't listen to me. So I don't know what to tell you at this point. I feel like that's the case. She's just like, I don't know what to tell you, how to do this. But yeah, she says her name is Tomoe Mami. I want to actually hear her say that, because I don't think it'll copyright me if I just hear her say that. Was it Mami? I want to go back to that. No! Go back here. I want to get to that right part where she says her name. And she says it so fast, it's like, how do we stop that? But okay. But yeah, she's like, oh, I'm a third year and I made a contract with Kyubey. It's totally fine. Also, like, Madoka not remembering like what's happening and considering it part of a dream, and then she looks over and that damn cat is like sitting on the shelf staring at her. I would have freaked out. I've been like, nope, time to go. I don't know. It's cute. The cat's adorable, but it's also creepy as F. And I don't like the fact that it's telepathic and it's like, I'm totally fine. Ha ha ha. Everything's great. I don't know. This series is so creepy already. It just has this underlying tone of, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Kyubey is totally normal. Maybe Kyubey's fine. I don't know in the OP who the girl with the long blonde hair is, long pink hair is. It's not Madoka, so I don't know who exactly it is. But is that Kyubey's real form? Is Kyubey a witch? I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know how this is going to go, but... And there's a black cat somehow. But the episode's called I Think That'd Be Really Nice. Yeah. So the OP makes you think this is like the cutesiest little show, and I'm like, I don't know. It has a very eerie underline to it, and I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this. I feel like shit's gonna go down because the world with the witches is terrifying. That whole like patchwork, Coraline, like all of the different like lace and textures and everything. It's creepy. I'm like, nope. I would have been like, yeah, this was fun. You look like you're having a great time, Mami, but I'm gonna head off. And the problem is, like, the mom, the cool mom, she's not helpful. The cool mom doesn't even hesitate. Like, you know, Madoka proposes, like, an actual legit question, being like, if a magical being granted you a wish, what would you do? And she instantly is like, well, I'd kick the person out in charge and take over. And I'm like, that took her 2 seconds. So I feel like the problem is also not only the fact that I'm not saying Mami is gaslighting them, but the fact that Mami is encouraging and doing things to actively make them want to become magical girls by being like, look how much fun we're having. And she tugs at the heartstrings. Like, girl gets that pathos in there. She's like, we're helping people and you can help people too, which I think is going to tug, because you have Satya, I think she's more enticed by the wish, the idea that she can get whatever she wants. But I think that Madoka is more enticed by the idea of helping people. And she, Madoka and Madoka, she questions like, why are we leaving Homer out? She doesn't seem like she's that bad, but the one girl, Mami's like, nah, forget about her. And the other friend doesn't even seem to like her at all. She calls her a bitch. And I'm like, she's not really been bitchy. She's just been standoffish. But yeah, the fact that only they can see this cat, the fact that it telepathically talks to them, I'm like, I don't know. Also, she's like, oh, I'm so unprepared as I have this perfectly clean household that's fully, staffed and ready to go. I'm like, what? Interesting. And she just happens to have 3 chairs. Also, want to make note, the pillow next to the little houseplant there is like a bunch of apples and eaten apples, feeling like the Garden of Eden, like taking it from the snake. I don't know. I don't trust this blonde chick and Kyubey any further than I can throw them. It's all just like, she has a little triangle table, like the 3 corners, everything. I don't know. Something about it seems too good to be true. And so they explain the soul gem thing. She's like, let's explain what this is. And she says, when I form a contract with a girl, a soul gem is born. So can't form it with a guy. But I also think that translates to the witch's egg, because you have the soul gem, but then it becomes an egg. And it's like, is that tying to like women producing eggs? Is that tying to that? Like, I don't know. And it identifies us, and it's the source of our power. Because, yeah, and the source of our power, like, it's basically like all your weapons and everything is in this little soul gem that's connected to your soul that Kyubey alters through the wish or whatever. It's like, I can grant each of you 1 wish. And they're like, really? What kind of wish? Like, anything. I can fulfill any miracle you wish for. That's broad. That's a lot. Like, what if you wish to be immortal? Then you don't have to worry about the witches because you're not going to get killed. We don't address that. It's such a thing. It's like, what would you wish for? I honestly don't know either. And when Satya talks about how not knowing what to wish for is a sign that they've been fortunate all their lives, and she treats it like a bad thing, I'm like, look, I get that it does mean you're privileged because you don't have anything you might wish for that would be worth risking your life for. I get that, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if that's a bad thing necessarily, because it just means that you're lucky, you have a good life. I don't know why that is such a bad thing. I don't know. But they're like, any miracle. I want to know, they ask Homura what she wished for. Why don't they ask Mami what she wished for to know from her? I want to know that. And they're like, oh, it could be gems or like a feast or immortality. And they're like, in exchange for that wish, a soul gem is produced. Here's like the monkey paw thing. So this Kyubey's like, I'll give you whatever you want, but in exchange for that, I'm going to take out part of your soul to create this gem. And if you don't fulfill the contract and do what I say and hunt down these monsters, then the soul gem either makes you a monster. I feel like it's like you're never getting out of this contract. Once you start it, you're never getting out. It's like red flags are going off at all times, and I'm in this episode, and I'm like, I don't like any of this. This all seems like a dangerous thing. Yeah, a soul gem is produced. Those who receive one are given the responsibility of fighting witches. And if you don't fight them, we don't say like what happens if you don't fight them, right? Yeah, and so then she gets ready for school. Now, they're like, a witch, are they different from magical girls? And they're like, if magical girls are born from wishes, then witches are born from curses. So here's the thing. So the magical girls are created when they wish for something, and the soul gem happens. And a witch supposedly is created from a curse. So if your wish turns sour, does that make it a curse? If your wish isn't fulfilled properly or you suffer because of it, is that a curse? If you try to leave the so basically, is Kyubey saying, I will grant you this soul gem for your wish, but if you don't do your job, I'm going to curse you and it's going to become the egg and you're going to become a witch? I don't know. I think there's a connection there. I feel like the two things are intertwined somehow. I just don't know exactly how yet. I don't know. And it says magical girls spread hope, whereas witches spread despair. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is all just like, yeah, Kyubey's this little beacon of light and beacon of hope and joy. And it's just like, maybe it's a little beacon of light and joy. And it's actually going to cause these girls to spread hope for the people that have been attacked by the witches and targeted by them. And the witches are evil. But you know what Kyubey's reminding me of right now? Kyubey's reminding me of, have you ever watched that little short called Charlie the Unicorn? Where there's these two unicorns and they come up to Charlie and they're like, come on, Charlie, we've got to go to Candy Mountain, Charlie. And they take him to Candy Mountain and it's like, there's joy and wonder and a magical Leoplerodon. And it's just like all really cutesy and everything. And then in the last like 10 seconds, spoilers for Charlie the Unicorn, in the last 10 seconds, the little cutesy unicorns lead him to a cave and they shiv him and steal his kidney. That's what this feels like. It feels like Kyubey's like, just make the contract, Madoka. Like, it's a magical hope and wonder and joy. And then they're going to, like, shiver kidneys, like, in the last second. That's what it feels like. That's the vibe of Kyubey. It seems cutesy and harmless. And it seems like, oh, yeah, you're just spreading hope, not despair. And it's going to turn, like, really sour. I don't know. But, yeah, that's how Kyubey explains it to them. As if this is, And to make matters worse, they can't be seen by normal humans. Now, that part is interesting. The witches can't be seen by normal humans. So, but we established the magical girls. I don't know if they can be seen by normal humans. Kyubey can't be. Doubt and suspicion, irrational rage, and hatred. I mean, but they establish with the magical girls that there's like a competition to kill the most witches. So, Mami kind of sweeps it under the rug. Mami's like, yeah, there's a competition and sometimes the girls are a little bit competitive and they don't want to, be around each other. I'm like, so creating doubt and suspicion amongst the girls, maybe irrational rage and hatred at the fact that this little demonic cat thing, the wish didn't live up to your expectation. They sow the seeds of catastrophe in this world. Many inexplicable suicides and murders are caused by the witch's curses. It reminds me a little bit, I said in the reaction of Jujutsu Kaisen and the curses in that series, which is fascinating to me. A formless evil that eats away from humans from the inside. Yeah, so that seems like, all of your negative emotions just eat away at you and then you become a witch. But I feel like there's more to it. And they're like, why does nobody know about them? And they're like, well, that's because the labyrinth-like area you wandered into before was one of those areas for the witches. And they're pretty dangerous. And it's like, yeah, that's why you were chosen to have your wish granted. But then, the downside is you have to come hunt witches. So she's like, well, let me just take you with you and everything will be fine. So Sayaka, not Sataya, Sayaka, the friend, and Madoka, they come to class. And Hitomi is the green-eyed girl. Okay, in the last episode, they didn't really... It makes sense now that Madoka was talking about Hitomi and she's the girl with them. The way she talked in the bathroom conversation last episode made her seem like just a random girl at school that's like the class princess, not like one of her close friends. But I don't know what to make of Hitomi. I can't decide if Hitomi is an innocent that is going to be wrangled into the group. She's not in the OP, so maybe not. Or if she's maybe a secret witch, possibly. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about her getting like upset that she thinks that maybe Sataya or Sayaka and Madoka like each other. I'm like, girl, it's okay if your friends are into one another. But maybe she's just mad because they didn't tell her or she wasn't involved in it. It's a weird scene. I was like, it's played off as a joke, being like, no, they're not lesbians. It's okay. But I'm like, also this show is a little bit older, I'm assuming. So what year did this come out? I want to find that out real quick. What year did this original anime come out? I swear I won't look at any plot stuff. I just want to know the year of the anime. Oh, 2011. So it's been a hot second. It's been, 13 years. We've progressed a little bit. So yeah, it's a wee bit old, which is weird to think that 2011 is that old. But it is. Okay. And yeah, that Kyubey's like, oh no, I'm just conveniently reading your mind and creating this telepathic pathway between all of us. Isn't that fun? The thing that I wish they would call out that is frustrating at this point is Mami can telepathically interact with them from far, far away in the classroom, right? She can interact with them from like across the entire school. But Homura is not in on the channels, even though she's a magical girl. I feel like they are intentionally keeping her at arm's length from Madoka and from Sayaka because they don't want her interacting with them. And unfortunately, I think Homura knows that Mami's a problem, and she's like, I'm not gonna be able to do much around her, so and that's her frustration. But it's creepy. And they're like, oh, nothing happened, and then they go back to the classroom and apologize to her. So then they're like, well, is it okay for you to come to school if that's like nothing's happened? And they're like, why wouldn't it be? And they're like, well, that girl transferred into our class from yesterday. What do they say about that? They're like, wasn't she trying to kill you? And they're like, I actually think the school is the safest place for me because it's around them and around Mami, and Kyubey knows that Homura is not going to cause trouble in the middle of class. So yeah, of course this is the safest place. But the Kyubey doesn't answer their question. She's like, shouldn't we be worried because that girl's here? And Kyubey's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's talk about something else. I just conveniently changes the subject. And they're like, Mami's here too. And they're like, she can telepathically know when I'm here. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't attack any of you in public. And I like, but there is this like these seeds of discord that are being sown against Homura. Like Kyubey, I feel like Kyubey and Mami know that Homura's kind of a lost cause. She's like not into this anymore, and she's actively trying to kill Kyubey to stop the contract. So they're like, well, we can't fight her right now, so let's just get more people. I feel like they're eventually going to like frame her as a witch and be like a witch against Homura and try to get the other girls to like attack her. I feel like that's where this is going. And I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, this little shit being held by Madoka, like he's just like, oh, protect me. I don't trust this thing. Not one bit. It is creepy as F. Nope, with its little demonic red eyes. And if you notice, the little soul gem is like getting darker and darker. At the beginning. Maybe that could also be why they bring the girls along, because she has to fight a witch. And she's like, oh yeah, she seems quite powerful too. Like, you don't know her that well? What? And it's like, wouldn't that make her one of the good guys fighting evil witches? Why'd she attack Madoka then? And then that's when Kyubey says, oh, she was after me. I imagine she was trying to stop the creation of new magical girls. And they're like, well, why would we do that? Isn't it better to have more people fighting the same enemy? And like, Mami here, you can't see her reaction. So I'm like, yeah, why would it be a problem to not create more magical girls? Oh, it's just granting wishes and it's granting their heart's desires. Why is that a problem? And then at that point, Mami's like, oh, that's not necessarily the case. Says it's actually more common for us to compete with each other. And they're like, why? And she says, oh, there are rewards for eliminating a witch. So in some cases, it turns into a contest. And magical girls may even fight over them. And so, yeah, so basically she predicted that Kyubey would try to talk to Madoka and was trying to pester her and stop her from doing that. But I'm like, I think it's more to it than that. Yeah, that just seems like the whole idea of there being a competition to stop witches. Yeah, sure, but I don't think that's enough to kill the damn cat. There's more to it. It's so frustrating because there's clearly more to it. And Madoka seems like, they're like, that's more likely the case. I'm like, as she puts her hand over the soul gem, I'm like, no. Nope. Something else is there. Something else is there. But, and Homura, you know what? Homura's just like, what can we do? She's like, I don't know what I can do in this case. I do like Madoka's little sketches. They're super cute with the outfit that she's going to end up wearing. So here's the thing. From the OP, it seems like they're going to accept and make the wish and accept that they're going to be magical girls. Here's the problem. I feel like this whole test with the witch that Mami does is to see what type of girls Madoka and Sayaka are. What type of girls are they? and what will they do to, what kind of wish can we pry out from them, right? Because Kyubey is like, you can have anything, and they don't really have an answer for him. They're like, we don't really have anything to ask for. And Kyubey's like, well, how do I pry a wish from you? I can't make you make it, so what do I do? I feel like showing them the woman to save is testing them in Kyubey's eyes, because Madoka like has a big visceral response to it. So Kyubey's probably thinking, okay, the pink-haired girl, she is going to want to save people. Sayaka, she seemed like she's a little bit more greedy and maybe more shallow in her wishes, so she may be easier to convince. But I think what's going to happen is that Kyubey is going to put one of those girls in danger. Whether it's the friend, whether it's Hitomi, whether it's Homura, one of them is going to be put into a deadly situation. And I think Kyubey is going to be responsible for it. And then he's going to pry from Madoka the wish to save them. To be like, I wish they could be saved. Or I wish they could live and not die. Kyubey's going to grant that. And that's going to be the wish that gets her stuck being a magical girl. I could be wrong, but I feel like that whole thing on the roof was to test them to see like what they would do and what their reactions would be. I also want to point out with this like sci-fi weird like neo-gothic world that the creator of this series is apparently the creator of Psycho-Pass. Which I love Psycho-Pass so much. So I'm like, okay, all right, Psycho-Pass, creating that series. Okay, all right. But I feel like there's some mind games that are going to be at work here. There's going to be something that's going to be really creepy happen. It's all a matter of time, right? And like, would you trade your life? Having a wish you trade your life for shouldn't be all that uncommon. I'm like, but that's not a bad thing to not have that in mind right now. It's like, ugh. Just like, why us of all people? Do you think it's unfair? There are others who'd give any chance to do something like this. And that's when Homura's like, oh, hey, I just happened to show up to try to warn you to not be. And yeah, and then you have like Mami being like, don't say too much or I'm going to attack you. And she's like, mother trucker. And she's like, it's not my intent. She's like, I'd hoped to settle things before he made contact with Kaname Madoka. And it's too late for that now. And the little Kyubey's just sitting there in her arms like, And then she's like, what will you do? Have you decided to become magical girls as well? And then the one girl, Sayaka, says it's none of her business. And she's like, okay, do you remember what I told you yesterday? That you need to be yourself. She's like, fine. I hope my warning doesn't fall on deaf ears. And Sayaka's kind of rude. She says she's a bitch, but I'm like, no, Homura's just like, I'm not going to tell you. And she's like, what wish did you make to become a magical girl? And the thing is, I wonder if they can tell that. I wonder if that's forbidden because Homura doesn't seem to want to answer that question. I don't know if she wants to not give her ideas. Or if she just can't tell her. There's a reason she can't talk about it, and I don't know what that is yet. So that's a thing. But yeah, so they go to find these witches, and poor Hitomi gets left behind again, but can't go hang out with them. And Homura's like, I think I'll follow along and see what's up. Although we don't get to see the end result of that, of Homura following them. But I feel like Sayaka's weapon is going to be a bat because she brought it along, and that's going to be her weapon when she's a magical girl. Poor Madoka, she just has drawings of her in the outfit, and she has like a little wand, but she's drawing that and the little egg, and then like the little gun that shoots out flowers and stuff. It's like, it's all very cutesy, but there's no like, it's just drawings. There's no like practicality with it. Yeah. And then we see that damn Neon Genesis exit sign. So yeah, all you do is follow the soul gem as it traces the witch's presence. It says searching for witches involves a lot of walking. And so what does it say there? It says the soul gem, it reacts to the remnants of magic used by the witch. So the witches, I feel like their souls are connected, and the soul gem recognizes that. I feel like it's all connected. We just gotta find out. And then this like craziness, like we see the witch's kiss, which is the mark. It looks like lips, but it also looks like a butterfly. And then what was that German? There was German writing on the doorway. Like it was like a place. It looked like German writing on a door, right? And it was like almost a barrier of them going through, right? Because she enters the room. What does it say here? I'm gonna get Google Translate out, damn it, because I want to know. Because this is so weird. Okay, Google Translate. And I want to do German to English. Okay, so we have a C. I'm trying to get the stuff I can see. C's are fault. Rotten. Okay. How begot hot C Zerschlagen? Schlagen? Demigod smashed them. What? Tragen, carry, die Trumern, in a niche, hinuber. They don't leave anything behind. This is creepy as hell. Unklagen, and complain. And then Gebet, die Verloren, Sahon. Okay, so rotten demigod smashed them. Carry, they don't leave anything behind. And complain, give the lost sight. What the fudge? We're gonna get back to this. There's a little part of it left off. I'm like, what the hell? What is happening? But I feel like that's a barrier, and the witch lured them into this place, lured the girl that had been kissed into this place where it could activate whatever its like inner dimension portal is to get them to go over there. Okay. And like it's reacting to some powerful magic. And yeah, the girl was gonna jump, which is terrifying. The fact that we get this shot of her like about to jump, I'm like, oh my god, like leaving the red shoes behind. It felt very Wizard of Oz. Okay, so they go in and Mami saves her, which is really cool. And they're like the witch's kiss, and it's like a butterfly, like a lip kiss with like rose thorns on it. And they're like, let's go. Okay, now we have the full message up here. So Moktigir. What does it say? Mock Tiger. Powerfully der Erden Sohn. Prack Tigger. Bow. See. Wow, I feel like we're gonna be like doing all this translation. In Dienen. Buben, Baus, Sie Ot, Neuen, Lebenslauf, and then Beginne. Oh, these are different words. Oh my god. What? These are different than the thing that was there before. Oh, that's terrifying. Okay, something Helene Sine und Nu. Oh my god, these are different! Oh no! It changed! Tinen Duress. Okay. So it says here, powerful, the son of the earth, more magnificent, build them again. In your boy you build them. New resume, begin, bright sense, and new songs. And then I can't translate the rest. This is some creepy shit. I'm just saying. It's very creepy. I don't like it. And then we have like the keep out tape. Like all the imagery is so terrifying, right? And then they're like, oh, you're not getting away today. And then they're like, here, this will protect you. And then they go in and she's like, just come through this random portal with me. Okay, so that didn't change when Homura got there. Yeah, and there's all these cotton spores. It's very Alice in Wonderland. It's creepy. There's more there. What does that say when they go? Okay, there's also something new there on the wall next to Sayaka. What does it say here? It says, Die Wu Hinden Raison. What does it say? It's like Raison Sullen Der Kinnigan Sue fast. Some of this is not like distinct. Sane. Okay, the raging ones be gifted. What is happening? It's so weird. I'm like, okay. So yeah, they're like, are you too scared? And they're like, well, yeah, this is nothing though. We're fine. I don't know. I'd be freaked out by all this. It's pretty terrifying. But here's the thing. It seems like Mami is well capable of fighting in this case. So then we get to the witch's like lair, and the witch, like, it looks like you have this mustached creepiness with like a portrait of the mustached butterfly, all these cotton spores with mustaches. There's like roses everywhere and thorns. And then you have the witch that looks like this like gloopy mess with the long stringing rose bush and the butterfly wings. But the long stringing rose bush and everything, I'm like, could that have been a magical girl? And the butterfly wings have been a bow from like her dress, and the red like roses and the vines and stuff were hair. We don't see a face, which is creepy to me. But they end up like destroying the witch. And they're like, oh, it's okay, we got this. And she ends up like managing to kill it relatively easily, right? It's pretty creepy. And they're like, oh, she won. And then they like, this is a grief seed. It's a witch's egg. It looks just like a freaking soul gem. But for a grief seed, like, it's just like maybe a magical girl that's, you know, gone awry. And they're like, it's very useful and safe in that form. And like, my soul gem is a bit darker. So then she's like, oh yeah, it is. And so she's like, look, I just sucked out all the badness from it. It's all clean. She's like, yeah. And she says, now the magic I've depleted has been replenished. So she offers the witch's seed to Homura and says, you should be able to use it one more time. And then she's like, well, you can have it. And what does she say there? Homura's like, do you not want to share? And she's like, it was your prey. You should keep it for yourself. So I'm like, is she chiding Mami for killing is she chiding her for killing the witch? Or is she just like, no, you said this was a competition, so why would you give it to me? Right? Didn't you tell these girls all we do is fight for these? Why would you just suddenly give them to me out of the kindness of your heart? I don't know. It's creepy. This whole episode, I think I've said creepy like 50 times. It's weird. And so yeah, then they save the girl, and that's what gets Madoka. She wants to save others. If someone like me can help other people, then that would be nice. Yeah, I'm afraid that this girl is going to make her wish something stupid like, well, as long as I can become a magical girl and save people, and Kyubey's going to be like, yes, that was an easy wish. That's what I'm afraid of. Ah! I don't know. The vibe of this show, it's so neat and it's so different, but I feel like the show is deceiving us. I don't know. The vibe I get from the show is it's being deceptive. It's like, oh, isn't this such a cute thing? Like, you get to be a magical girl and you get to save people. Don't worry, there's no dark side or repercussions for this. I'm like, I don't believe you. So we'll just have to see what happens, right? Right? Anyway, I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. I'm going to be gone on a trip, and then when I get back, I will be watching episode 3, but we'll be a fourth of the way done through this series next week, which is crazy to me, but what do we do? So, I don't know. I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'm going to be back real soon with more Puella, Magi, Madoka, Magica. Bye!